Hey everyone, so at around 10 p.m. Eastern Time, we're finally going to get the maintenance that's going to bring us Earth Vultee. I thought this could be a good chance to talk about not only him but the others on the banner. So starting off with his kit, his skill would give him 20 arts gauge and then another 20 if he doesn't have a status ailment. Not that bad to be honest, pretty good source of arts gen for himself. For his art, it does 15k earth damage and he gets 50 arts, and then he loads a single phantom bullet into his gun, and it increases his attack by 50% for 12 seconds. This is definitely a first for any of the phantom bullets because he's actually able to take each one of his phantom bullets and put it into his gun, stacking it up to 6 times. I'll go further into what it actually does a little later, but it's pretty interesting to say the least. For his true arts, he does 30,000 earth damage, and then he gives everyone a 25,000 damage shield, and then stacks 30% earth damage for the entire team for 40 seconds. Not terrible, kinda like Miranda. He basically becomes Miranda in the sense that he's stacking earth damage for the team, but she does magic, but it's the same kind of damage buff. But this means that he's not only a tank, but he's actually kind of like a damage buffer, which is pretty nice, especially considering most tanks don't really buff the team, besides like what now Fumi, and obviously Miranda. For his Phantom Bullet, on the other hand, here's where it actually gets crazy. So he can use it 6 times per quest, and it does 38,000 earth damage times the number of bullets that he has in his gun. It also reduces his physical damage by 20%, and he tanks 25,000 damage for 40 seconds. The reason this is so interesting is that if you were to stack his art 6 times and then use his Phantom Bullet, he would deal 228,000 damage. That's crazy, especially considering that he's a tank, and it's probably, I guess, the highest multiplier, maybe besides like Summer Sustain or something. The Phantom Bullet actually makes him a better damager as well because he's actually able to tank if you want, but due to the high multiplier of the Phantom Bullet, you could actually be a damager if you needed. Keep in mind though, if you do stack his art 6 times, they're using his actual Phantom Bullets to stack. So once you're max stack and you use a Phantom Bullet, but you can't use any Phantom Bullets after that. So basically, if you want a tank that can damage, he's your guy. But personally, I think it makes more sense to only use his Phantom Bullet with one bullet. That way you can use it 6 times, so you can really benefit from that big 20% physical resist down. For his passives, he gets 50% attack up when he has more than 50% health, but then he gets 20% damage down when he's below 50% health. The passive basically makes him a damager tank, allowing him to switch back and forth, although as a tank, you'd want the damage resist, which also means that you'd probably want a Truth of Eternity crest on him as well. He gets 20% defense when negating damage, pretty basic, and he has a passive 20% physical resist down. As for his true weapon, it has a 12,000 earth damage modifier. It reduces the enemy's physical resist by 20% and an additional 10% if it's an earth unit, so 30% resist down, not bad, especially if you're trying to like buff the team's damage or whatever. As for the true weapon's passive, it has 10% skill CT down, pretty basic. And for the unique passive, it lowers damage by 10% and it makes him resistant to flinch. Not only is that 10% damage important in tanking, but that resistance to flinch is vital as a tank, because it allows him to be able to put up a shield even when he's being attacked. So overall, he's actually really good. If you want him to be, he can be an attacker, but as a tank, his damage resist is really high. He's basically a physical Miranda, with 30% damage down and 40% physical damage down. If you put him with a Truth of Eternity crest as well, he's getting 90% damage down at his best, which is really, really good, especially on stages like Ganon. This means you won't really need any help from anyone damage resist wise, unless it's like a magic boss like Vitz. I'd definitely do a 50 for him, and considering he's good for both beginners and for veterans, the step up would also be worth it, considering it's like 200% at the max step. The rest of the banner, it's pretty stacked as well with Fort Irie and Celissa. Fort's obviously Fort, she's a good nuke support for pretty much any team, but especially mono dark humans. Irie is an insane damage dealer that can put up really big numbers if you allow her to, and Celissa is pretty okay. She's basically used on stages like Aces, but not really used all too often. But I mean, it's pretty refreshing that at least some of the banner units are actually usable besides just the main unit. That's pretty much everything in regards to the upcoming units for this maintenance. I would say definitely do the 50, do the step up if you really want the units, but don't go too deep because we already know they're gonna pull something and try to release a really good unit at the anniversary. But yeah, thanks again for watching and good luck on anyone that's going to be summoning.